Hi, I'm Ruth Ann Norden,
And I'm Janet Sias-Nitzik.
and this is Stages of Writing number 4, where we talk about critiques.
Yes. And I would say for critiquing, the best thing you can do is look at your local area and find the critique groups that maybe are public that you could go to. There are some locally I know about that you can just walk in and after you're there 3 times you can read.
Now, how did you
And
find out about them?
I actually found out through another organization. I met this, what I call his professor, and
Okay, so someone who was in it
somebody
told you
was
about
in
it?
it and
Okay.
he told me about it. So
But how did you meet this person who told you about that?
I met him through, I was a group called Night Riders or something like that.
Well,
And
how
I
did
was,
you find out about Night Riders?
you know what?
You don't remember?
I don't remember how I found about Night
Because
Riders.
I wonder, do you find about this online, or do you have to go with the Chamber of Commerce? Have anything, or where would you go to find where you're local?
I think your best thing is a lot of them now have websites.
Okay,
And
so
so,
do a search.
and the best thing to do is search for your local area. And when you're starting years ago, you couldn't do that, but now you can actually. I know that the one locally here has their own website,
Okay.
and so you can find that. Or if you don't have it, there's maybe like we have a Nebraska Writers Guild in the state. You maybe could look on there and ask a question or get hooked up with somebody on that, and they could maybe refer you to that group. So
Okay.
so you can find out. But then there's another local group called Word Sowers. It's a Christian.
Well, that's here in this area,
Right,
though.
but I'm
But
just
that
saying.
doesn't.
But what I was going to say is that some people found out that were from out of town because they were stationed here in Nebraska. We have a lot. We have SAC headquarters here in Nebraska, and a lot of Air Force people. And she came and she came to the Word Sowers group because she saw it on the website.
Okay, so
So
basically look online, but there's also online. Excuse me. There's also online places you can get
right,
critiques.
exactly. That's right. That you got a good point there. No matter however you do your critique, however you find your group, find a group you're comfortable with. The group I'm talking about is that you read your material.
Mhm.
They will give you some verbal response, maybe 2 or 3 people, and then they'll send you slips of paper to tell you where they felt that you did well and where you felt you had holes.
Okay, so just real quick, what makes a good critique group and what makes one that's bad? So how would someone know the difference, regardless of whether we're in person or online? Like, what are the things they should be looking for? How do they know they have a good one?
One thing you want is honesty. You wanted them to be honest with you, and you want them to give you a critique, and that's why we never recommend having your mom critique your stuff because she's not going to really want to hurt your feelings.
Well, who wants to hear this sucks from your
Right,
mother?
exactly. You need to establish a relationship with the people you're working with. That really helps too. So I would say that that's part of it. Making you feel comfortable in the
Mhm.
group it really is important. You want to feel relaxed when you're reading, that not all tense. You you just want to feel like you're part of the group.
You know,
You
I
know,
think like maybe a supportive and encouraging atmosphere,
yeah,
because people can be supportive and kind and be honest at the same time. And I think
exactly.
sometimes people don't realize that
Right, exactly.
when they're doing this. And the benefit to being with other writers is that we're all kind of thinking the same things, the storytelling craft, how to best
Mm-hmm.
tell a story, and
Mm-hmm.
grammar, what maybe, where to commas go, things like that. And, if you're repeating a certain word over and over, so I'm like, wait a minute, that's,
Right,
I
and
heard
that's
that word like 5 times this page.
right,
Just stuff like
exactly.
that. But you're all looking at the same thing, I'm thinking.
Right, exactly.
So that's,
Yeah,
they're more prone to it because people that don't write, they do have their place, but like beta readers, and we did a
exactly.
video on that,
Mhm.
and they're really good and excellent, for giving
Mhm.
critiques.
Mhm.
But in this case, we're talking about critique with other writers
Mhm.
because we're all kind of looking at things the same way, and you got to keep in mind that sometimes the other writer's not going to be in your genre, and that kind of colors, well, how much do you pay attention or not? Because if a science fiction writer is telling a romance writer, well, it's too lovey-dovey. I need more, more
Yeah,
action.
exactly.
Well, you sorry, romance, it's pretty
Exactly,
lovey-dovey. That's
exactly, exactly. So you try to find somebody that's also have similar reads the same kind of things and knows those
I
kind
mean,
of
not to
things
say that
and
someone in another
writes.
genre can't tell you something useful, because they can.
Mm.
It's just you always got to think, well, what do they write, and what kind of lens is this person looking at?
Right, and I would recommend highly too, if you do something with it's a verbal, and you're saying it, and then they're giving you critiques. Get another group that also looks at your hard copy, so that they can get an input, because what you can't, when you're reading it, you don't hear everything that person's
You miss a
saying.
lot.
You miss a lot, and so I would say also get another group. Don't just limit yourself to one group. Go to a couple groups, and whatever works. And some of those can be online groups.
Right.
If you're comfortable. They don't all have to be where you're meeting them face to face. Of course, we have a wonderful group because we get to drink our lattes and we get to go out to eat and we get to have fun as well. But
well, and that's it. If you can be also friends, it's even better.
It's
then you enjoy it.
You enjoy it, and it's not we'd had
some are formal.
Right.
And that's fine. They serve a purpose, but some are more relaxed.
And also make sure that you're free to work on your material, that there's not a time limit on it. Like we had an experience years ago where, somebody wanted to put some time limits on it, and that just really, you got to go with what works for the group,
right.
if you're doing an more individual group. And so when you're free to kind of go and just, I'll read yours in the morning, you read mine in the afternoon kind of thing,
right.
Something along that line where, it's 10 minutes, you're past your due, but you haven't finished your scene.
That might be an example of maybe what not to look for. Now,
right,
what else?
Exactly.
Because we already said some of what to look for.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give examples on what? Like even online or something that, I would say, Mark, okay, this may be if you're critiquing someone's work and they're like, well, I really don't feel I need to take your input. Or I'll just see what someone else says and all this stuff. Well, why are you wasting your time critiquing that person's book? Because they think they've already decided they're not going to take your input no matter what.
Right, and that is sad, because that is also infringing on that other person's time that could be doing something else.
That's just it.
So if you make sure that if you're going to ask for a critique, that you're going to be accepting of what they have to say. Now, that doesn't mean you have to take everything they say.
No, and there are going to be some times where maybe they didn't quite understand your character or why you're doing it, and it's important for the story. Well, that way you keep it, you go ahead and keep what you need to in the story.
Right, exactly.
I mean, ultimately, it is your story.
Right.
And I would say, like I was just thinking, maybe are there any like keywords or red flags that maybe someone, like, if someone's critiquing your work, that maybe like they're being kind of mean about it?
I think
condescending? Because you should never put up with anyone treating you like you're a kid.
Right, exactly.
It should be always like respect.
Right, exactly.
And how about the way of saying something? Like,
well, just how you approach it. You say, well, I really liked your story. I saw this area where I think you can, expound on this particular thing, but don't just slam the person.
Okay, well, like, what? Give me an example.
Oh, I guess well, you needed to fix this. Well, that's how you.
I can't believe after all this time you haven't gotten it yet.
Right, exactly. There you go. Yeah, something along that line.
This is so obvious. Did you learn nothing in grammar school?
Right, exactly. Those kind of things that they used to associate with teachers saying, but years ago. But they don't do that like they used to. But they used to do those kind of things. And so just think of something like that. Say how you approach something, just like in anything. Right. Makes such a difference. And I would say if you're getting from a group or getting the same response 2 or 3 times, you've got a problem. You need to fix that. So basically,
a good thing to listen to if you have like multiple people, like 2 or 3 people are telling you the exact same thing, like is not working or could be improved on or something, then it's time to say, okay, maybe I should really look at it. So maybe 3.
Yeah, I'd say at least 3 times. If they're saying it 3 times, then you've got a problem. You need to fix it, and you should be grateful that they're showing those to you. Because if you print that out, and that hole is still there,
say you publish it, review,
and
readers, when people are reviewing your books, they're not going to be very gracious about it.
Right,
and would you rather take care of it before you publish it, or get the 1-star review in your book afterwards?
Exactly. And so that is so true, and that really hurts you later on. Yeah. Which get it before it goes out there.
Yep. Yeah. And our next one that we're going to talk about is editing.
Editing
in the next stage. See you then.
All right. Thank you.